and welcome. You're tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now with me, Ankita Saxena, and with me is Ashesha Advario. In the next 1 hour, we'll get all your stock-related queries answered. So keep sending in your questions. The number is flashing on top of your screen, and you can send in your stock query, your holding period, and your buy price, and we'll get them answered by our experts. But first up, let's take stock of how the market is shaping up. Ashesha, it's the monthly expiry day today. Amid this bit of a volatility that we see coming in, markets are holding pretty strongly. In fact, Nifty is holding on above those 25,350 levels for now, and Nifty Bank also in tandem is holding on to those gains.
Well, absolutely. We are off from the highest point of the day, but despite that, going steady for the Indian markets. Nifty is now near at that 25,345 mark. Nifty Bank, although continues to remain absolutely flat in today's trading session, 56,612. In fact, it has now slipped into the red and it has given up all of those morning gains in today's trading session. On the index level, we have Jio Financial Services, which is the biggest gainer, up nearly 2%, followed by Hindalco, Zomato, Bajaj Finance, Reliance Industries, all of them gaining in excess of 1% in today's trading session. We have metal stocks which are shining bright. Nifty Metal Index is up 0.5% in today's trading session. SAIL, for instance, Steel Authority of India, that one is up 2.5%, followed by Hindalco, Jindal Stainless, NMDC, Jindal Steel, all of them gaining anywhere between 1 to 2.5% in today's trading session. On the flip side, though, real estate stocks are taking backseat in today's trading session. Nifty Realty Index is down over 1%, in fact down nearly 1.5% as we speak. Prestige Estates, Lodha, Brigade Enterprises, DLF, all of them declining in trade today. But let's get started with all your stock specific queries, and let's introduce our guests on the show then. Today we have Sharmila Joshi joining us on the fundamental side, and we'll also have a technical expert joining us in just a bit. But before we get started with all your stock specific queries, Sharmila, your view on the markets first. After the recovery that we saw and after the ceasefire that was signed between Israel and Iran, we have seen significant amount of recovery on the index level. What will your view on the index be for now?
So I think positive. I think the only caveat I would add here is that we need to sort of brace ourselves for these kind of shocks. I'm not saying necessarily war, but we are in a sort of a fluid situation, and things could go wrong, so to speak. On a domestic note, we were doing very well in the sense we had RBI front loading with their big rate cut. Numbers were okay, so things were beginning to sort of fall in place. And even from a valuation perspective, I don't think that we can be considered expensive if you're looking at the. So that would really be my stand. Going ahead, that if you want to buy something, think that you're going to have to stay invested in the stock for a period of 2 or 3 years, and hopefully within that you will get sort of periods when there will be relative calm and markets will be allowed to sort of move up. But it was unfortunate the timing of the latest war that we had, because we were at that point in time sort of tracking back our gains and moving to higher levels. So if we get that kind of a period, maybe we'll see that up move. But as things stand today, as I said, we need to keep ourselves braced for certain for things to sort of go wrong and be invested for the long term.
All right, so Sharmila, that's the take coming in on the markets. But let's get going with all the stocks then and all the questions that you have for us. Now, you can share your stock-related queries on WhatsApp. You can ping us on the number that's flashing on top of your screen and get investment analysis on your holding and tips for fresh buys in the market. Write to us as soon as possible, and we shall start taking your questions. Then, without further ado, let's get started with all the questions. Sharmila, let me come to you with the first query for the day. Sharmila, this is Gautam who's writing in from Mumbai. He says, is Tata Power a better investment than REC and PFC at this point for the next 12 to 18 months? What is your perspective on Tata Power? Now, power stocks are in focus today on the back of that announcement of that electricity tariff cut by Maharashtra government. But going ahead, do you see Tata Power as a better bet than PFC and REC?
Honestly, you can't compare an REC, PFC with a Tata Power. I like all three companies. On a valuation perspective also, they are sort of average. You can't say that they are very cheap or very expensive. And I think the latest move will stand to benefit all. With Tata Power, I think the only added advantage that I see is that they are also sort of trying to get into renewable energy space, into the renewable energy space, which according to my mind could be a good theme, for the longer term. But that said, I like all three companies. So maybe what you could do is, which is sometimes an approach that I sort of like, is make a basket of all three stocks. And whatever investment you had in mind, just make it equally in RECPSC and Tata Power at this point in time.
Understood. So that's the view coming in on Tata Power, and apart from that, we also took a view on REC, PFC, all of these power financing companies. But the next question, we have Shaurya, who has written to us from Gurgaon. He's asking whether it is the right time to enter into Adani Ports after the recent correction. Sharmila, what will your view be on Adani Ports?
Within that space, this is definitely a sort of a business and stock that looks good. I think the only caveat here would be to sort of keep your ear and eye open for any sort of negative corporate developments. But the valuations for Adani Ports looks good. Also, the plans that they have going ahead to add volumes, etc., are quite interesting. So from that perspective, I like the stock.
All right. With that, let's take a quick breather. On the other side, we'll keep it going with all your questions. Keep sending them, and we'll take those after the break. So stay tuned.
Co-powered by Angel One for Everyone, app for smart investing. Co-powered by the Carens Clavis, made for epic journeys. In association with LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ. डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा. अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ. सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र.
In 11 transformative years under the Modi government, India has redefined its place in the world. National security has grown stronger. Global diplomacy has become sharper. Economic growth is faster than ever. Record-breaking IPOs, world-class infrastructure, a digital revolution in every village, and a rising Northeast powering new progress. Watch at these times.
Kalpataru Limited, an integrated real estate development company with a total of 120 completed projects, now makes an initial public offering of equity shares of face value of 10 rupees each. The 100% book-built offer being offered in a price band of 387 to 414 rupees per equity share. Opens on June 24th and closes on June 26th, 2025. For risk factors and details, refer to the red herring prospectus.
Sambhav Steel Tubes Limited now proposes an initial public offering of its equity shares. The 100% book-built offer is being offered at a price band of rupees 77 to rupees 82 per equity share of face value of rupees 10 each. Offer opens on Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Offer closes on Friday, June 27th, 2025. For risk involved and other details, please refer to the red herring prospectus dated June 19, 2025, which is available on the website of the company, the SEBI, the BRLMs and the stock exchanges.
सेफ इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए, बोल्ड इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए, एंजल वन फॉर एवरीवन. 3 crore Indians की तरह आप भी शुरू कीजिए.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
In 11 transformative years under the Modi government, India has redefined its place in the world. National security has grown stronger. Global diplomacy has become sharper. Economic growth is faster than ever. Record-breaking IPOs, world-class infrastructure, a digital revolution in every village, and a rising Northeast powering new progress. Watch at these times.
इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट कर, ग्रोथ का है चांस. डेट में है लो रिस्क, बात मेरी मान.
गोल्ड सिर्फ गोल्ड, भैया ने भी यही किया.
सुन सबकी कर मल्टी, मतलब मल्टी एसेट एलोकेशन फंड, यानी 3-in-1 फंड। ये इक्विटी, डेट, गोल्ड तीनों में एक साथ इन्वेस्ट करें। म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेज ध्यान पूर्वक पढ़ें।
विकसित भारत का अमृत काल, सेवा, सुशासन, गरीब कल्याण के 11 साल। Narendra Modi-led government has focused extensively on improving the everyday lives of urban Indians. In 2014, metro rail services were available in just 5 cities. Today, that number has grown to 23, providing a comfortable public transport option for millions. During this period, the length of the metro network has expanded from 248 kilometers to an impressive 1,013 kilometers.
शहर की गति ही शहर की प्रगति बनती है। ये कनेक्टिविटी, ट्रांसपोर्ट की आधुनिक फैसिलिटी आज आधुनिक विकास की नई तस्वीर बन रही है।
The Modi government has also established a 1 lakh crore urban challenge fund. The aim is to empower cities to become strong engines of development and economic growth.
इमारतें तो कई बनाते हैं, सुना है यहाँ जिंदगी बसती है। धूप सेंकने का पसंदीदा कोना मिलता है, मुस्कानों को गूंजने की जगह मिलती है। कल्पना के परे एक ढांचा मिलता है। सुना है यहाँ जिंदगी बसती है। इस कल्प वृक्ष के तले सब मिलता है। कल्पतरु, यहाँ जिंदगी बसती है सिंस 1969।
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and this is a show where we discuss all your stock-specific ideas. So keep sending them to us. The number is flashing for you at the top of your screens. But let's get started then. The next viewer, he's not mentioned his name, but he has a question on TCS, where the viewer is holding about 21 shares at an average price of 3655 rupees per share. He's asking whether he should continue holding or sell out of this position. And we also have Osho Krishnan now joining us. Osho, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now. So this question is for you, Osho. TCS, what will your view be for the near term?
Very good morning to both of you, and thank you for having me at the show. Well, TCS, no doubt, in the recent period has underperformed the benchmark index, and there has been some kind of consolidation in the current period. But overall, looking at the trend, there is a high potential or high possibility for this counter to retrace towards the zone of 3650, 3700 in a very short-term duration. So overall, there has been very strong consolidation, and whole IT space is looking very lucrative at current level. So I will advise to stay put with the investments in TCS. In the short-term period, 3650, 3700 is the first and immediate target that one can expect. But once it reaches the zone of 3700, then it has potential to even retest the zone of 4000 and 4100 from medium-term point of view. So my advice will be to stay invested in TCS.
All right, stay invested in TCS. That's the word. Coming to you then. This is Ghosh Dada who's writing in from Delhi. Wants to know about Bharat Forge and Zomato. What would be your take? I'll come to you on for the fundamentals for this one. Sharmila, this is Zomato. There is a lot of heated competition as far as the quick commerce, e-com space is concerned. What do you make of Zomato? Because Bharat Forge also has done well, but going ahead, do you see more upside to this?
I think yes, both stocks have an upside, but as I said earlier, you need to be invested in these stocks from a slightly longer term perspective. and more so for both these stocks because A, as you mentioned, that for Eternal we have seen this market space getting more crowded. Having said that, there is enough room and more for them to get into different products and to sort of deepen their presence in other cities and within localities, even in the same geography. So I think all things put together, they did go through a rough patch, but now that they're coming out of it, they are focusing on the businesses that sort of will take them ahead. So that is for where Zomato Eternal is concerned. And Bharat Forge, again, I think we have seen concerns on the back of the fact that they are an export-facing company, and we are seeing, the concerns with the tariff issue. But to my mind, now we are not very far from the July 9th date. So some or the other, and we have been hearing, that things are in motion, and maybe we will see some light over there. And valuations, as I said, for both sort of look decent. Neither of them are really cheap, but both are, to my mind, a decent stock. So from a longer term perspective, you can definitely hold both.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on several of these stocks. But the next question is for you, Osho. We have Mohan, who has written to us from Hyderabad. He has a question, one, on Orient Cement. He's holding some shares at an average price of 137 rupees per share. And the second is on Eicher Motors at 2000 rupees per share. So what will your view be on both these stocks, Orient Cement and Eicher Motors?
See, firstly, for Orient Cement, then this counter has seen a very strong sell-off in the recent period. In the month of June, it has corrected almost 32% from the highs of 360, and which is totally opposite of what the whole cement sector is looking on. So I'm expecting that with the kind of a correction, there will be a strong duration to recover or to gain some kind of a lost movement in this counter. So it is advisable to, if someone is already holding at higher levels, then I will advise to hold it at current levels. Do not sell at these levels because 200 zone is a very strong support for the counter. So hold with a final stop loss of 200. And if it breaches below that, then better to exit. But 200 will be a decent level, and I don't think it will be tested in the near period. On the higher end, I am not expecting a decent rally in the counter, but there can be some kind of recovery that can be seen in Orient Cement. Immediate resistance or immediate target that one can expect is of 265. So it is advisable to hold with 265 as a target in the short term period. And the second one was Eicher Motor, correct?
Yes, the second one was Eicher Motors, Osho.
Yes, so Eicher Motor is looking very positive to me. It is hovering above the short term and even the long term moving averages. And I'm expecting that in the recent period or in a very short term duration, there is a high possibility for this counter to test the zone of 5800. So it is advisable to stay invested in the counter. There might be some kind of cool off or profit booking that might drag it towards the zone of 5450, 5400 kind of a zone. But once it still stay intact with their investment, and I'm expecting a target of nearly 5800, 5850 in the short term duration.
All right, so that's the word on Eicher Motors. But Sharmila, let me come to you. This is Karthik who's writing in. He holds 5,400 shares of Canara Bank at a buying price of 118 rupees. He wants to know if he can hold this for one more year, or can he add one from the PSU basket. Do you see value in Canara Bank? And from a 1 year's perspective, what do you see for Canara Bank?
So definitely hold on to what you have. Overall, I'm fairly positive on bankings and financials as a space. As we discussed a while earlier, we have now sort of front-loaded with the rate cut. And what to my mind, it means is that now banks will do everything to sort of grow their business within this period. And it augurs well for the PSU banking space, especially for a stock like Canara Bank, which is a sort of a large size PSU bank. Trading below its book value. So definitely, again, from a valuation perspective, it looks very attractive. So definitely hold what you have. And to add also, I think this is a reasonable level. But the only strategy, because of the kind of markets that we are in, that I would like to make new investments in, is to try and do like a sort of staggered buy. And keep sort of some money free for when you see these sort of big corrections come. But that said, at this level, this stock looks good to buy.
Stock goods looks good. You can buy at this juncture. That's the word coming in on Canara Bank. But we have Mohan who has written to us. Now he is writing to us from Orissa, who is a retired government employee. He is holding 225 shares of Bandhan Bank. This is at an average price of 215 rupees per share. He's been holding on for the last 1 year. He's asking whether he should continue holding on or shift to some other stock. Osho, what will your view be? Technicals, Bandhan Bank, and if at all your advice is to sell out of this position, what will the other alternative be?
See, currently Bandhan Bank, looking at the other peer companies from the same space, then it is a very strong underperformer, and it has been into the cycle of lower lows, lower highs formation. So it is advisable to exit from the counter. On the other hand, we can expect a decent movement in Punjab National Bank. So PNB can be an option where one can invest or switch to from Bandhan Bank. I am expecting PNB to gain approximately 125 to 130 in the near term period, and once it breaches the zone of 130, then we can see a decent movement in from a longer term duration also. So PNB looks more lucrative at current levels, so it is advisable to invest or switch from Bandhan Bank to PNB at current zone.
All right, with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll keep taking your queries, so keep sending them. We'll see you on the other side of this break. Welcome back. You're tuned into Buy Now Sell Now, where we're getting all your stock related questions answered by our experts. So let's resume with all the queries then. This one is by Bharadwaj, who's writing from Coimbatore. He has 630 shares of JK Tyres at an average price of 290 rupees. He wants to know if he can buy more at current price, and he's looking to hold it for the next 2 to 4 years. Sharmila, why don't you take this question on JK Tyres? Is it a good stock to be holding for the next 2 to 4 years? More upside to this stock?
This tire space is in that space a great space to be in, because it is a sort of a replaceable component. And if you even take a sort of a closer look at all the tire companies, they are all in a way catering to different types of vehicles, whether it's passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, and so on and so forth. So what you really, and there's they tend to be a little cyclical in nature, because you need to tie them with what is happening with crude prices, rubber prices, etc. That said, I think the current valuations and pricing for JK Tyre definitely warrant that it be a long-term hold. You may need to be a little patient, as I said, because of where you might find the commodity prices on which tires are dependent. But that said, this is a good quality mid-cap stock. Definitely, you can stay invested if you have a year plus horizon in mind.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on JK Tyre. But by the way, Sharmila, we have a comment that has come in for you, that a viewer is telling us that Sharmila is getting younger day by day and that he has been seeing you for the longest time. So that's something one of our viewers has written to us, a compliment for you. But the next question has come in from a senior citizen, Padma.
She wants to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to say it's called a hair color.
Okay.
By Godrej consumer.
Okay. But the next question has come in from Padma. He's a senior citizen, or rather she is a senior citizen. She bought some shares of Siemens at an average price of 3,300 rupees per share. She's asking whether it is a good option or should she shift from Siemens. Osho, what will your short-term view be? Although the viewer has not mentioned her time frame, but Siemens, what will your view be?
Strong recovery from the zone of nearly 2,300 towards 3,400. But again, 3,400 is a very strong resistance for the counter on the technical perspective, because this is the zone where the counter have seen or have taken multiple supports before the breakdown that has happened in the month of December. But after that, now this zone is supposed to act as a very strong resistance. So it is expected that from here onwards, there can be some kind of consolidation in this counter before a further or continued upside momentum. So my advice will be to hold with a strict stop loss of 3,000, because if it breaches below 3,000, then we can see some kind of further profit booking in the counter. While on the higher end, 3,400 is the resistance. Any breakthrough above 3,400 can give another 400 point of movement in this counter. So wait for keep a stop loss of 3,000 and wait for the counter to breach the zone of 3,400 from a short to medium term time frame.
All right, so that's Siemens on the chart. But Sharmila, let me come to you. This is Seema who's writing in from Dubai. Interesting question, Sharmila. She's asking that would it be strategically beneficial to reduce her position in Grasim Industries to initiate a fresh investment in Ultratech Cement at the current market price? Given that Grasim is the holding company for Ultratech Cement, does it make sense to hold both the stocks simultaneously, or would it be more prudent to allocate them in specific portions? As a long-term investor, she seeks clarity on the optimal use, considering that she's currently holding 70 shares of Grasim at a buying price of 1,900 rupees.
Yes, I think this, to my mind, this strategy makes sense for the simple reason that as a sort of a standalone business, I think where we are in our economic cycle, cement makes a better investment than being, in the parent company, which will have a sort of a sum of parts approach. Both stocks are good. I would not, in that sense, say that Grasim is something that you need to sell. But just as a switch and as a strategy, I think this makes sense. Ultratech, of course, has gone up very rapidly. I think in this last month or so, it's been trending upward. So maybe you may want to wait for a correction to make the switch. But just from that point of view, that outlook for cement, to my mind, is better at where for us as a country. Because you must remember that cement is considered one of those sectors which is directly sort of linear or proportional to how your GDP is moving. So if you're expecting GDP to do better, then it stands to reason that cement will do better. So from that perspective, I think this is a well thought out strategy, and she should definitely implement it. Try and implement it when you get a dip in Ultratech.
Understood. So that's the view coming in on Ultratech Cement and Nestle. But Sharmila and Osho, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here today on ET Now and answering all our stock-specific queries. We need to slip into a very short break on that note, but we'll put the spotlight on the primary markets on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.